Hey everybody, HomeSliceHenry here, and in today's video we'll be taking a look at some fun battles in the Kanto Cup featuring Shadow Charizard. Now Charizard is a Shadow Pokemon I've wanted for quite some time, and with the recent Team Go Rocket event they finally brought it back. I was able to get one, so you know I had to power it up and use an Elite TM to get Blast Burn to try it out in the Kanto Cup, and it was a ton of fun. It's very glassy, but it does an insane amount of damage. So without further ado, let's hop into the matches and let's take a look at some of my favorite battles using Shadow Charizard in the Kanto Cup. Hopping into the first match, we're going to make pretty neutrally Lickitung into Shadow Nidoqueen. I'm definitely going to stay in here for a bit because the first Poison Fang will not hurt too badly as my defense has yet to be lowered, and I'll be able to fire back with the Body Slam, and this will be getting them to about half health or pressuring the shield. They let it go. Now I'm going to Stage Switch into my own Nidoqueen and we bait out a Hypno. This team is structured as a pretty standard ABB style team, with the goal being to bait out their best response to Charizard, typically a water type, but baiting out a Hypno here honestly works pretty well because Shadow Charizard, being very glassy, does not appreciate confusion damage. And the very nice thing here is, even despite this being a losing matchup, my Nidoqueen was able to force a shield off the Hypno. That's massive, and now we can bring in Lickitung to farm down and soak up any remaining energy. We can safely let that go. That's nowhere near the Focus Blast. We farm down, and we should be in a pretty good spot because we have shield advantage, and Shadow Charizard with shield advantage is incredibly deadly. Poison Fang does not take us out, and we're able to get to the Body Slam, and this should just about be taking them out. Leaves them very low. We bring in the Charizard. It's a simultaneous swap, and they have KANTO Ninetales in the back, and this is where Shadow Charizard is incredibly deadly. Shield advantage, we're able to force the last shield with the Blast Burn, and now we can safely shield both of their charge moves, get to the next Blast Burn, and despite it being resisted, it is easily going to be KOing the KANTO Ninetales and getting us the win. Shadow Charizard able to get to the Blast Burn doing big damage onto the KANTO Ninetales. We fire spin down the Nidoqueen, and that is a good game. Hopping in the next match, picking up a very nice lead. We have Lickitung into Mew. The opponent save switches into their own Lickitung, and I'm going to counter switch into my Shadow Nidoqueen. As Shadow Nidoqueen does have a pretty nice matchup in the zeros, I do overfarm ever so slightly, probably a bit of a misplay, and now we're going for the Poison Fang. They actually shield. So my opponent making a pretty big error in shielding the first Poison Fang, as now I can very safely shield their move in return, and I don't have to worry about going into a shield deficit. So we're going to be going for the Poison Fang, and as you can see, that second one, now that the defense is lowered, does do more damage, and now from here, this Poison Fang should just about be taking them out. It does take them out, and we're able to preserve switch. Back in comes Mew, trying to farm down, but Mew will be forced to eat a Poison Fang, and Shadow Poison Fang hurts quite a bit. Now, we come in with the Lickitung, and we have to hope they don't have Focus Blast. We call it, they go for the Surf, no Focus Blast, they have Chansey in the back, and we have Shadow Charizard. Now, Chansey is one of the bulkiest, actually not even that, the bulkiest Pokemon in the Kanto Cup, but Blast Burn still hits for big damage for a neutral move. And the nice thing is, Chansey attacks do basically no damage, that's just the Psychic. We're going to let that go, and we're going for another Blast Burn on the Chansey. And look at that, a sight you don't see every day, Chansey being forced to shield from the damage of Shadow Charizard. Shadow Charizard at a third Blast Burn. This almost takes it out. We switch into the Lickitung. The opponent sees the writing on the wall and concedes the match. Alright, hopping to the next match, we have Lickitung into Alolan Ninetales and its Powder Snow. So Powder Snow will be doing a lot less fast move damage, but they're very spammy with the charge moves. They build up, I decide to call the bait, and it's just a Weather Ball. They did not go for the Dazzling Gleam. We'll be firing back with the Body Slam. We get the shield, and now with shield advantage, we bring in our Nidoqueen, and they bring in Shadow Hypno, and I'm going for it all. We are up a shield. I'm going to be going for the Earth Power. Earth Power lands, and that does big damage, and I decide not to fight for switch, as I think shield advantage may be more beneficial in the end game. So we are actually going to let that go. We wait our switch clock, we farm down with Lickitung, and the opponent has Pidgeot in the back, and this is actually a little rough. Pidgeot has Gust, which is a very hard-hitting fast move, and Pokemon with very hard-hitting fast moves are often difficult for Charizard to take out. So we are just going to start spamming out these body slams, doing as much damage as we can. And it looks like the Pidgeot is trying to farm down. We are going to be going for another body slam. This should be forcing the shield. And now we have to bring in the Charizard, but this Pidgeot is absolutely loaded. I decide to call the bait, just a Feather Dance, but even the Feather Dance does a solid chunk of damage to Shadow Charizard. We're forced to shield up the second one, and now we just have to get to the Blast Burn, and we're not able to get there. They have a Weather Ball. The question is, do they have another? And they're able to get there. Unfortunately, we lagged a little bit at the end, but I believe we still would have fallen a turn short. And unfortunately, we're unable to win that match. Had I switched sooner, we would have been able to reach that Blast Burn. Hopping to the next match, and a fellow man of culture running Shadow Charizard. You love to see it. Lickitung should do pretty well here, because these body slams will hurt, and we're able to force a shield off of the Charizard. This Charizard is running Dragon Breath, and these Dragon Breaths are really chunking Lickitung, and they actually bait me. Very nice bait there, and here, I'm calling it. I don't think they're enough for a Blast Burn, and it's just a Dragon Claw. We are able to survive, and now we're going to be getting off a Body Slam, which should hopefully be... Oh, they actually let it go. I was expecting them to shield, but we're going to let ourselves go down because we have Shadow Nidoqueen, and Shadow Nidoqueen does very well against Shadow Machamp. That's not enough for a payback. They just go for a Cross Chop. They have Lapras, and things get tough because this is a Water Gun Lapras. So we are going to be going for the Earth Power. This will be doing a solid chunk of damage, and now we bring in the Shadow Charizard to try and farm down. The Water Guns are chunking, but so are the Fire Spins. We shield up the Surf. We're able to farm down, and now we just have to get to these two Dragon Claws versus the Shadow Machamp. First Dragon Claw coming through, gets the shield, and Shadow Charizard able to get to the second Dragon Claw. This will be doing enough damage to take out the Shadow Machamp, and that is a good game. Alright, hopping to the next match. We have Lickitung into another Shadow Nidoqueen. We know how we typically like to play this out. We will go for the Body Slam whenever possible, and then wait for them to throw, and then switch into our own Nidoqueen. This time we're able to get a shield. That is massive. I will happily take shield advantage. They built up enough for the Earth Power, but they bait. And now we'll bring in our own Shadow Nidoqueen. Here they're probably going to bait, but I kind of have to respect it. They do bait. That is very unfortunate. They are farming up. They try and catch, and they have a Lapras. So very good to bait this out. We are going to be going straight for the Earth Power. That does big damage. And since they let me get such a big energy lead, I'm able to get to a Poison Fang as well. Now, Poison Fang will take them out, and we're actually able to win Switch. That is fantastic. Back in comes their Nidoqueen. They're just going to Poison Fang from here, so I'm going to let that go. Not really a point in shielding, and I should have thrown the Poison Fang there. I'm not entirely sure why I didn't. I don't even think there was lag. I think I just thought that I could throw one more Poison Jab, and I very clearly could not. So we're going to be going for the Body Slam onto the Nidoqueen. We get the shield, and now we have to switch in the Charizard, and even just that one Fire Spin does a lot of damage to Nidoqueen. We shield up the Poison Fang, and they have Mew in the back, and we're able to get to the Blast Burn. Blast Burn will be doing massive damage to the Mew. Blast Burn one-shots the Mew. We Fire Spin down, and that is a good game. The raw power of Shadow Charizard saving us at the end. Next game, Mew lead. That's pretty nice for us. They save switch into Pidgeot, and we have a pretty good response with our Shadow Nidoqueen. The opponent shields up the first Poison Fang, which is a pretty clear indication that they are going to be going for the Feather Dance move to debuff me. So I'm actually going to call it. We let that go, and we're going to be going for another Poison Fang just to get some chip damage. And this should be doing a solid chunk, but they actually shield. So the opponent goes down 2 shields to flip switch. And this is looking incredible. We are going to bring in the Lickitung, and with the defense drop from Poison Fang, that KOs. So we're in a pretty good spot. They have Shadow Machamp. And honestly, I'm okay with letting this go. We were able to do a little bit of lick damage, and now 2 shield Shadow Charizard. It is time. We are going to be shielding this up in case they go for the Rock Slide. Just the Cross Chop, that's fine. They bring in Mew. We already know what happens to Mew when it comes to Blast Burns. It gets one shot. Back in comes the Machamp. we're able to fire spin down, and that is a good game. All right, hopping to the next match, we have Lickitung into Shadow Lapras. So a pretty neutral matchup, but it's definitely good we see this here, as this is definitely our best matchup. We are going to let that go, just the Surf, and we are going to start firing off these Power Whips, which will do a lot of damage to Shadow Lapras. First Power Whip comes through, and unfortunately it does get the shield. Now that does have me a little worried because I don't really want a very healthy Lapras going up against the back line. So we are going to be farming up, and they're able to get to another move, and here I kind of have to commit the shield because I really need to get damage off. We're actually going for the Body Slam bait, hoping we can get the shield, and we do. That's huge. We should just be able to outpace here. Yes, we're able to get to the Power Whip. That is massive. We have no shields remaining for our two Shadows in back, but we've taken out the Lapras, and they have a Shadow Machamp, so things are looking pretty good for us, but they have Hypno in the back. Oh no. We're only able to get to the Dragon Claw before they reach a move. Dragon Claw does a solid chunk of damage, and it's a CMP tie. So Hypno in the back is terrible, but we are going to try and salvage. We come back in with the Nidoqueen. We're able to get it low, and now we're going for the Poison Fang. This will be taking out the Hypno, and then we should still have enough health to beat the Machamp in the back. We just have to get to the Earth Power. They build up a lot of energy, and I just have to hope that this isn't the payback. It's the payback, and unfortunately I lose. So good games there. Opponent was running a spicy moveset, and that really paid off. Hopping into the next match, we have the Lickitung mirror. This is a pretty bad mirror, as the Licks, of course, are double resisted and doing absolutely no damage. My strategy here is to wait for them to throw first and bank the energy, as it should be more useful later in the game. We are going to bring in the Shadow Nidoqueen and begin to start farming up, and we're going straight for the Earth Power. No baiting here, going for the Earth Power, and we land it. That does big damage onto the Lickitung. Let's go. Lickitung does have a lot of energy. They'll be able to get off the two Body Slams, so I will shield once to preserve a bit of health because they're not switching out, so maybe they're potentially weak in the back. And they have a Shadow Victory Bell in the back, and I'm going to be going for the Poison Fang before I go down. Poison Fang does get the shield, and with a lower defense than a Shadow Vic, it's Fire Spin time. Shadow Charizard demolishing in 3 Fire Spins while taking almost no damage, and now we have a pretty nice energy lead. They have Nidoqueen in the back, and we're going straight for the Blast Burn. No baiting here. We do get the shield, and now we aggressively switch in with the Lickitung, and all that energy we saved from earlier suddenly becomes very, very useful, as it's going to be doing a lot more to Nidoqueen than it would to an opposing Lickitung. We're able to do so much damage. The opponent just keeps farming up, and there's just not an amount of energy they could get to that would win them the game, and that is a good game. All right, hopping into the next match, we have Lickitung into another Shadow Nidoqueen. So you can see that's a very, very common pick at the moment. And Lickitung does offer us some pretty neutral options against the Nidoqueen lead, which is very nice. And now we're going to be going straight for that Body Slam, which we'll be doing about half health or getting the shield. This is a slightly better Shadow Nidoqueen than most. And now we bait out an Alolan Sandslash. We should live an Ice Punch, which is fine. And now we're going to be going straight for the Earth Power. No baiting here, trying to one-hit, and we do get the shield. This is fine, because we have Charizard, and with these Fire Spins, do double super effective damage. I am going to shield up, and Ice Punch honestly does a lot to Shadow Charizard, and we're able to farm down. And now we have a big energy lead for whatever they decide to bring in. Will they bring in the Nidoqueen? They do. But honestly, the Nidoqueen is pretty close to Dragon Claw range. We go for the Dragon Claw, we get the shield, and we get the Fire Spin through as they throw. Now, after this Fire Spin registers, they should definitely be in Dragon Claw range, so we will be able to take them out. We do take them out, that's fantastic, and they have Lickitung in the back. I can't reach a Blast Burn before I get there. There's a bunch of lag, but we're able to switch and catch. We needed to catch as we weren't going to be able to reach the Blast Burn, which is unfortunate, but we're able to catch onto our Lickitung, which is very, very nice. And now we have a loaded Dragon Claw for later if the opponent does decide to leave with a move. And my Lickitung is still outside of Body Slam range. So they'll either have to throw a Body Slam plus a bunch of licks, or more than likely, throw a second Body Slam. So they are going to be going for the Body Slam. That doesn't take me out. They're trying to lick down. They get nervous about my energy. They throw again, and now they're in Dragon Claw range. We're able to come back in with the Shadow Charizard. Shadow Charizard, even if they had a move, will easily win CMP. We take out the Lickitung, and that is a good game. All right, hopping into the next match, we have Lickitung into, a non-Shadow Nidoqueen. I mean, it's still a Nidoqueen, but all I've seen is Shadow so far, so hey, Spice, we'll take it. We are going to be letting that first Poison Fang go. Honestly, I would probably rather see the Shadow, just because the Body Slams do a lot more damage onto the Shadow. As you can see, I am actually going to be staying in here. We are going to let a second Poison Fang land, and we'll be able to apply a decent amount of pressure with the Body Slam right here. Body Slam coming through, and let's see if we can force the shield. Body Slam does get the shield, and now we bring in our Shadow Nidoqueen. They farm up, they're probably going to bait me, but on the off chance they don't, I shield, and I do get baited. But they do have a pretty good counter in Shadow Lapras in the back. But again, Shadow Lapras does not appreciate Earth Power. Earth Power lands, and we get the defense drop. That is so nice. That defense drop is massive. We'll let this go, and we'll actually come in with Shadow Charizard, farm down to get an energy lead, and hope that with an energy lead, we can take on whatever's in the back. They bring in the Nidoqueen, so they could be weak in the back. We are going to shield up and just farm down, and we'll have to see what they have in the back. They have Pidgeot in the back. Things are looking a little rough. Gus does a lot of damage. We bait with the Dragon Claw, and now we have to get to the Blast Burn. We get to the Blast Burn. The question is this enough to take out Pidgeot? It does. It one-shots the Pidgeot. Shadow Charizard closing strong, and that is a good game. Hopping into the next match. A very cool pick. We're going up against an XL Alolan Grimer. Now, that's a Pokemon that I wish that I had. Unfortunately, I just don't have a lot of Stardust or a good one to build. So 0 for 2 on that front. We are going to stay in. They're going to be going for the Crunch. Crunch does a pretty solid chunk of damage, but we'll be able to get to another Body Slam, and this will be getting them very low or forcing the shield. And honestly, either one is okay with me. We force the shield, we bring in our Shadow Nidoqueen, and we bait out Hypno. Since we're up a shield, I'm not baiting. We're going straight for the Earth Power. Earth Power lands. That does big damage, and we're able to farm down. The opponent thought they could farm down. They thought wrong. And now, I am going to come in with the Lickitung just to force them to throw. I'm basically just going to get them to waste their energy, and now it's Shadow Charizard time. Unfortunately, they do get to another move on very low HP. It is the Crunch. I'll shield it up, and the question is, what do they have in the back? They have a Alolan Muck. No baiting here. We are going straight for the Blast Burn. Blast Burn lands, does huge damage, and that is a good game. So all in all, I had a ton of fun running Shadow Charizard. It is very, very glassy. I will warn you, granted, I don't have like Great League optimized IVs. The IVs I got, I'll be eventually powering it up for Master League Premier Cup, but the damage it does is no joke. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you're enjoying the content, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And a special thank you, as always, to our members here on YouTube. The support you guys provide is absolutely incredible. So thank you guys oh so very much. And until next time, I've been HomeSliceHenry.